So hello there, fellow Warframe players. Today I would like to talk about the recently added Infested MOAs. I would like to talk about what they did to the faction balance and what I think should be changed in order to make it more enjoyable for other players. I want to also touch a little bit on monster design and enemy design as well. So here we go. So in my personal opinion, the Infested are currently hands down the hardest faction to go up against in high levels, simply due to the excessive amount of crowd control they possess. And before you start shouting that that's not true, that I'm bullshitting, that the Grenier are harder because of meh, or the Corpus are harder because of meh, let me explain. I have my reasons, alright? So the Infested currently possess the bees. Oh god, the bees. You want to reload? Well, you can't. Then they have the tar on the ground, and then they have the shockwave ability. These three come from the new MOA enemies. Then they have the grapple from the ancients, and then they are infested. They will swarm around you, so your movement is limited, unless you're running a guillotine or the torpedo, and you're just, helicoptering around the room. In comparison, the Grenier have the grapple from the melee enemies, which is very easy to deal with, and they have bombards. And while someone might argue that bombards are just more annoying, they're just not. They are really easy to deal with. Alright, they are really, really easy to deal with. They also have imploding rockets, because when the rocket explodes in front of me, I fall forwards. When one explodes behind me, I fall backwards. Therefore, they cannot be explosive, they are implosive. Then we have the rollers for the Grenier, but you just do one melee swing and they die. So that's not very difficult to deal with, and you could maybe count in the knockdown from the heavy gunners, but why would you be next to a heavy gunner? I don't know. If you try to go into a Grenier survival or Grenier defense, and you will run towards a heavy gunner to punch him in the face on a high wave, you are fucking dead. And lastly, we have the Corpus, which once again have MOA, so that's the shockwave ability, and they have the nullifiers, which nullify the Warframe abilities within a certain radius of them. Now, the main question here is, how do we prevent those enemies from disrupting our group? How difficult it is to prevent them from, crowd controlling our party members and possibly killing them. So with Grenier, it's fairly simple for me. I will equip my favorite frame with my favorite weapon, which is Loki with the Dread, and I will run around invisible, headshotting the fuckers. With my Dread, Potato, 2 Forma, I'm able to headshot them for about 50k, which is very high, and it's capable of taking out very high-level bombards with just one arrow. The same goes for the heavy gunners and pretty much every other Grenier enemy. If you are properly equipped and you know what you are doing, it's very easy to take care of them and prevent them from disrupting your group. For Corpus, I will either do the same thing, which is equip Loki with the Dread and Axtilatos for the nullifiers, so I can run around, I can pin the MOAs to the walls, and when it comes to nullifiers, I can pull out my Axtilatos, pop the bubble very, very easily, and then just 1 or 2 melee swings will take care of him, because they have very little health. Now, the second way of dealing with those guys that I prefer to use is Nyx. I'll just equip Nyx, I will cast Chaos, I will mind control either the strong MOA or even a bombard and just watch them disintegrate everyone else. So if you know what you're doing, if you are properly equipped, it's easy to deal with the crowd controlling enemies with those two factions. With Infested, however, it very quickly tends to turn into running around screaming, "Oh god, the bees! I can't see! I want to reload! I'm dead!" That's pretty much what happens 90% of the time. And that's due to a couple of issues that the Infested have and the other two factions, Grenier and Corpus, don't have. So first of all, the energy draining enemies, the energy draining tanks. So in high levels, you will be constantly out of energy. So running around as a Loki or Nyx, well, it's useless because you don't have energy. You are also very squishy. The Infested swarm around you and they're trying to kill you in any way possible. So they will just kill you. If you run around as a squishy frame, you're gonna fucking die. And those couple of things are, in my opinion, the main reasons why this crowd control is misplaced for the Infested. And why DE should do something with it. I'm not saying remove it completely, but do something with it. We all know how to deal with this. There is a way to deal with every single crowd control effect the Infested have. The shockwave from the MOAs you can either jump over the orange lines that expand from the Moa, or if you have a weapon like a Shindo or any other weapon that prevents you from being interrupted while you are mid-swing, you can just swing away and it's not gonna knock you down. The same goes for the Ancient Grapple. When you run towards the Ancient while he's trying to grapple you, he's not going to grapple you. And if once again you have a weapon like the Shindo that prevents you from being interrupted mid-swing, you can just swing at the right time and he's not going to grapple you. When you get the bees, you can just roll once. If you roll once with the bees, it will go away. And you can do a couple of melee attacks as well. If you swing your weapon 2 or 3 times, it will go away as well. So there is a way to deal with every single ability they have. But because it all comes in at the same time, you are dead. You are standing in a tar while you can't see a fucking thing because of the fucking bees. And an Ancient just grappled you, and as you're getting back up, a Moa stomps and you fly across the fucking level. So when you get to a high enough level of Infested, you can just take your hands off the keyboard because you're constantly rolling to get rid of the fucking bees or to get rid of the fucking tar. And an Ancient's there just grappling you over the fucking place. You're flying around like a fucking ragdoll because of the Moas. And all of this is happening while you're trying to defend something. And you are desperately trying to reach the fucking Moa to smack it in the face, to get rid of the bees and kill it. And do you know what happens when you get to it? It jumps away. Through a wall, through the fucking ceiling, through the floor. They will just jump into another room. Through a wall. Now compare this to running around as an invisible Loki headshotting bombards. You know, it's not balanced. Why would you do high-level Infested missions if you don't need the mods when you can do the Void missions and they are easier when compared? Alright? Or you can do Grenier and just headshot bombards. It's much simpler. Why would anyone play against high-level Infested if they don't need the mods or level a weapon? Now I would like to touch a little bit on monster design and enemy design in general, and I will actually not start off with the Infested. I will start off with the heavy gunners from Grenier, because it always baffled me the way they are designed. Alright, so this is an enemy that has insane amount of damage at range. Their weapons have high fire rate, they have high damage, so if you're standing out in the open and you are going one-on-one with a heavy gunner, you are gonna die, okay? They have just way too much damage. If you can't headshot them with a sniper gun or a bow, you are dead. You are probably going to die. So, at first, I thought that their weakness would be close range. That would be the challenge, alright? They are very strong at long range, so, you know, the challenge is getting up close and killing them. Wrong. Because they have a knockdown ability. And that is not very good in terms of mob design. Because if you have an enemy that has a very high advantage at long range, what you don't want it to have is a knockdown at close range. Because when players see this enemy, they think, okay, so I'm going to get up close to him. Surely he has a weakness. He might not shoot me if I run around him. He might not be able to catch up with me. Not run up to him, he knocks you down and then kills your fucking ass while you're stunned. Alright, that in my opinion is very bad monster design. Now let's talk about the Moas, because they are equally as bad, if not worse. So first of all, their jump ability. Either remove it or make it more rare. And fix it if you want to make it more rare, because they can currently jump through ceilings, they can jump through walls, they can jump through floors as well. I was in a defense mission on a 2nd floor and I saw one of those Moa bastards jump through the floor to the room underneath me. So either fix it, remove it, make it more rare, something. Alright, the fundamental problem with this jumping ability is the fact that when you have the swarm on you and you can't see, or when you're standing in a tar, you are encouraged to roll, which prevents you from reloading. You are also encouraged to swing your melee weapon to get rid of the swarm. So once again, you would think that the way to deal with them is to get up close and kill them. But that's impossible because they can jump away and they have the Stomp Attack. Alright? So that is very problematic because you can't reload, which means you can't shoot because you have the bees or standing in a tar, and when you get up close to finally melee them, they will jump away. That is bad monster design. That is just bad, annoying monster design. The Stomp Attack has the same problem. You are encouraged to melee and roll so you can't reload, so you would think you can get up close to them and melee them. But with the Stomp Attack, it's almost impossible with all the other Infested swarming you. It's also broken in a different way, where even if they are ragdolled, which means they are in Vauban's vortex or you knock them down, the Stomp Attack can still go off, even though they are ragdolled and they shouldn't be able to do anything. Now let's target the two different abilities they have, and I have very simple fixes for them. Alright, first of all, the tar. Fix the projectiles, make them more obvious, and give them slower travel time, so players can see them and they can run away. They don't have to roll, they can reload, and they can kill the Moa. It's as simple as that. Just give it slower travel time, make it more obvious, so players can dodge away from it. Second one is the Infested Swarm. Make it disappear when the Moa dies. Currently, it can spread to everything. That is players, dead bodies, and enemies. It buffs enemies with ludicrous amounts of armor. So what you should do is pick up that swarm, go away, roll with it, and it would be fine. Or kill the Moa and the swarm will disappear. Currently, when you get one of those and it spreads to one enemy, every single enemy will have it till the end of the mission. So those are very simple fixes that could make this more enjoyable and less annoying. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments, and I thank you all for watching my critique. I will see you next time. Bye bye.